The Switch has been killing it lately. Last year, it had not one, but two first-party titles that were up for Game of the Year. We know that there are a bunch of really important franchises that will eventually make their way to the Switch, but that's all we know. Will they be coming out this year? Who knows? Here's a bunch of games that we know are coming out for the Switch, but other than that, we know virtually nothing about. We can start with Pokémon because that's the one that we know the most about, but don't get your hopes up because the most isn't really all that much. It was previously rumored that the Switch would get a spin-off of Pokémon Sun and Moon. People were saying it'd be called Pokémon Stars. This is obviously not the case, as late last year we got Pokémon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for the 3DS. When it was announced that this game wasn't for the Switch, people were a little bit upset. And they're both coming out on the 3DS. So, like, why would I buy them again? I just bought them. Why? At E3 2017, the Pokémon company had to say something about the upcoming Switch game it was developing in order to get fans back in their good graces. This is all that we have about this game. Tsunekazu Ishihara at his desk saying that Game Freak has begun developing a core RPG Pokémon title on Nintendo Switch. It may not release for more than a year, but we'll hope you look forward to it all the same. Thank you very much. Butts are so great. I'm drawing Pokemon that look like butts right now. Since then, Ishihara has said a few more things to Bloomberg. With the Switch, we see it as a chance to create Pokemon that goes deeper and with a higher level of expression. As a result, that makes it an extremely important platform. Right now, we're using 7 to 8 inch screens, but on a high-definition TV, you can express a whole different world with graphics and sound. Until now, games were made as one for one person. But now you can go home and play with everyone. So how do we tackle these themes, and how do we make sure it's not complicated? I can't say that we'll release accessories, but I'd like to think of that possibility. Unlike smartphones, the Switch is not a game device that assumes that there's constant network connectivity. So from our perspective, it's really not that different from DS or 3DS in terms of connectivity. I think the important things to take away here are that yes, this game is going to utilize the full graphical potential of the Nintendo Switch, and yes, this game will have online multiplayer in some capacity. So how do we tackle these themes and how do we make sure it's not complicated? That means Nintendo, you gotta get off your ass and fix your online functionality. Nintendo Online is launching in September, so hopefully they will have their shit together by then. So I wouldn't worry about this for an upcoming Pokemon release. We got plenty of time. In the latest financial brief from Game Freak, it was confirmed that the new Pokemon game will arrive in, quote, 2018 or later. So we don't know anything. I'd venture to guess that this means that we won't be getting any core Pokemon games for the 3DS anymore. Good riddance. We've seen a ton of these so-called leaked starter designs. Leaked designs have been accurate for past games, but pretty much all of these designs have been proven false for this new Switch game. I think that there's a good possibility that this new game will be very heavily marketed towards Gen 1ers, very similarly to how Pokemon Go was. Some speculation says that it could be a reboot. I think that it could be something more similar to Fire Red, or a completely new game in a completely new region that also has the Kanto region involved in some way. The Pokemon Company has to know by now that if they tap into that nostalgia crowd, they could hit astronomical numbers. They already hit astronomical numbers, but this new Pokemon game on the new hot platform, marketed to kids and adults, from the #1 biggest franchise in the world right now, will do otherworldly numbers. Those are the same, aren't they? We probably won't hear about it again until around E3 time. And I don't know if it's going to be coming out this year because we have confirmation of another really, really big game coming out this year for sure, definitely. Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. In the latest Nintendo Direct, Nintendo pulled an Apple One More Thing and caught everybody by surprise. All we know from that very short trailer is that the game will feature Inklings, Mario, and Zelda the Boy. I guess you can sit there and stare at this pixelated mess to try to decipher who all these silhouetted characters are. I can see Samus. That's it. But who's to say that this image is even a final roster? It's probably not. Why would they waste their time on making something like that perfect when it's going to be scaled down into obscurity anyway? It served its purpose in the trailer just fine. Will this be a new game or a sequel? Nobody knows. But there sure are plenty of people out there on the internet acting like they know. That little copyright at the end of the trailer that says original game, copyright Nintendo/HAL Laboratories Inc., that doesn't mean anything. All that means is that they own the copyright. That's it. That's it. That's it. I'd be willing to bet that it's a new game built using the same engine as the last game, just like they did with Splatoon 2. There's usually long gaps between Smash Bros. Releases, but the last game only took 2.5 years to develop, so in that case, there's been plenty of time to develop a whole new game. The only other things that we know for certain are that there will be a Smash Bros. Invitational tournament at E3 this year. It's being directed by series creator Masahiro Sakurai, and it will be out in 2018, probably later in the year. That leads me to believe that other big titles, like, for example, Pokémon, might take some breathing room and come out early next year instead. But, again, who knows? All that we got for Metroid Prime 4 was a cool logo tease last year at E3. That's all that the fans needed to drum up some hype, but it's been some time now, and we still haven't heard anything about it. All that we know is that the previous Metroid Prime developer, Retro Studios, is not working on this one. It's heavily suggested that Bandai Namco is working on this installment, and I would believe that because Nintendo and Bandai Namco have a very good relationship lately. Nintendo's Norwegian site recently slipped up with this quote: "The year 2017 has definitely been Nintendo's year, and we are looking forward to 2018, which will include new games like Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, and Kirby Star Allies, as well as many other games that we will reveal during the year." Of course, this was a mistake and was quickly pulled. I don't think this is any indication that we'll be getting a Metroid Prime 4 or a Bayonetta 3 in 2018. Even if they were originally intended to come out in 2018 with no official release date from Nintendo, they are very susceptible to internal delays. Oh, and Bayonetta 3 is another one that we know virtually nothing about. It has a very similar story to Metroid Prime 4. Earlier this year at the Game Awards, we got a title screen tease and a short cinematic of Bayonetta getting her ass kicked. That's it. It's being developed by Platinum Games, the usual guys for the Bayonetta series, and it seems like Hideki Kamiya is working on it. He's game director of just the first game, and he wants to make that very clear to you. It also seems as though Bayo is sporting her look from the first game. This could mean that it takes place before the second game, or it could mean absolutely nothing. This is all we know. Back in January of last year, when we got our first look at games that would be eventually coming out for the Nintendo Switch, we also got our first look at what was then called Shin Megami Tensei brand new title. Rolls right off the tongue. There's an empty office building with roses and We know it'll be rendered in the Unreal Engine, which gets people excited for some reason. There are plenty of familiar faces and a super long shot on Odin over here. Let me be honest here. When I saw this at the reveal, I had absolutely no idea what it was. I am very out of touch with this series. Back in October, we got a little bit more info. We now know that it is Shin Megami Tensei 5. This trailer also shows us some more characters, but we still don't have a release date yet. And the only thing leading us to believe it will be localized for North America is the teaser trailer being uploaded to the American Nintendo YouTube account. Regardless, don't expect a global release on day one. And according to the game producer, the game only entered full-scale development in February of this year, so it's gonna be a while. We've got 2 more games that we know about in name only. There is a new Fire Emblem game coming out for the Switch, known as, get ready for this, get ready, Fire Emblem for the Nintendo Switch. And no, it is not Fire Emblem Heroes. It is a completely new, full-fledged Fire Emblem game. This is a big deal because this will be the first core Fire Emblem game to be released on a home console in a decade. This game is officially recognized by Nintendo as coming out in 2018, but we don't even have screenshots or promotional art or anything. So we truly know nothing about this game. Finally, we have Animal Crossing for the NX. You heard me right. Back in April of 2016, Nintendo was talking about their upcoming Animal Crossing game during a financial earnings report. We now know that game to be Animal Crossing Pocket Camp for iOS and Android. Kimishima said the company seeks to offer a connection between the smart device application and the world of Animal Crossing on a dedicated video game systems. The world took this to mean that we are getting a new Animal Crossing game, or at the very least, Nintendo's working on something. It certainly won't be for the Wii U. I suppose it could be for the 3DS, but that would be very unlikely. I think it would make perfect sense to get an Animal Crossing game out there on a home console that would have connectivity to the Animal Crossing on your mobile device. Get it? Pocket Camp? It's not a town, it's a camp. It's a vacation spot. It would make perfect sense to take your character from the Switch game camping every once in a while. You can't be the mayor of 2 towns. But that's all speculation. All that we know for certain, rock solid information about Animal Crossing for the Nintendo Switch is that Nintendo's playing around with the idea. That's it. Unless there's something I'm missing, because the whole world took this as confirmation that an Animal Crossing is coming out for the NX. But I just see them saying, hey, we're playing with it. We're working on something. That's all they said. That's it. So that's all I've got. What do you guys think about all these games that are coming out for the Nintendo Switch that we don't know a goddamn thing about? Did I leave any out? Or maybe we found out more information about some of these games and now this video is outdated. Leave it in the comments below, at me on Twitter, all of this other social media garbage. We have new videos and live streams almost daily here on this channel. If you want to be notified about all of that stuff, you have to click that bell because that's the only way YouTube is going to show you those videos 100% definitely all of the time. And make sure you go over to twitch.tv/WulffDen2, click that follow button, and then it'll notify you when I go live over there too. And of course, the most important things that you can do is subscribe. That's all you need to do if you actually check your sub box. And share this video with a friend who you watched the original Switch reveal with, and you're wondering where the hell all these games are. Thank you guys very much. You have yourself a very good week. I love you. Mwah, kiss it.